Dion, living in the past and thinking of the future is simple. Trying to live in the present is difficult for most people. What is y'all suggestion to live in the present? Dion, if you don't come through, Dion and I were stationed in northern Iraq together.
Oh, well,
Fun
hello.
fact, for those of you who don't know, I was in the Army and was deployed to northern Iraq. And so Brother Dion was there with me. I love this conversation. How do you suggest living in the present?
Well, I'll say what works for me. What works for me is I'm very feeling, so I get sensations very intensely. If it's joy, if it's anxiety, if it's melancholy, whatever it is. And so I just kind of feel them. So if I start getting a migraine, I know something's off. And I'm like, okay, I need some water. So that allows me to be in that moment. Okay, I have a migraine right now. What do I do to help me be at peace? I go get some water or some tea, or I breathe. Breathing helps me be in the moment. Deep breathing, specifically breathing in through the nose and kind of filling up the belly to clear out what no longer serves you. And then exhaling either softly through the mouth or through the nose. Nothing too intense through the mouth, because then you might start to hyperventilate. But just like a... And as I'm inhaling, I'm thinking of my intentions. If it's like, okay, I just want to stay present, then I inhale, okay, I'm going to stay in the present moment. And then I exhale through the mouth and I release what no longer serves me. Sometimes what no longer serves me is storylines that I'm telling myself. Sometimes it's external noise, depending on who you might be living with. Maybe it's whatever. It could come from any...
Did she just snipe at me? Was that...
No.
She said, depending on who you living with.
Nah,
external noise.
I am grateful that I have a dope-ass family. I don't have to worry about it.
I was breathing, and then I had heard that. And then
you were taking that personality.
Okay, I mean, maybe I'm just projecting. You know.
And so even if you're in the moment of projecting, you just take a deep inhale through the nose. But no, that for me helps me stay in the moment, because then I'm able to hear that still small voice that's like, okay, what is it that I desire? What do I want? Okay, I want to binge watch the 3rd season of Vampire Diaries, or of Grey's Anatomy, or of whatever.
Law and Order SVU.
That one's hard for me. It's too
Judge
real.
ye
It's
not.
great.
Judge ye not. I think it's 3 core things that I heard you say. My counting might be off, so let's see. I heard self-awareness. I heard self-awareness in there. So being aware enough to kind of gauge when something's off, like you said, to be able to acknowledge or to be able to sense, like there's a headache, there's a discomfort or a dis-ease. So there's a level of self-awareness there. A willingness to release judgment, which allows you to get present to what the moment requires. Right? Because again, going back to that conversation, when we're in these should conversations, I should be doing this, I shouldn't feel this, I shouldn't think that. When you're in those, you might not hear your inner self requesting an episode of that TV show, because you've already told yourself what you should be doing in the moment. And so and I'm speaking from my personal experience, so I fight through, muscle through, try to power through, and things just get tighter and tighter and tighter, versus being willing to be self-aware, to see where I'm at in that moment, to be willing. There's also a stopping that happens, right? You have to slow down or stop the flow. And releasing judgment and tuning in, being willing to hear and to listen. And so I love what you said, because for all of those things, each of us access those things in different ways. And so I think that those are 4 core things that you can play with for yourself. Like, what causes me to be in tune with what's going on with me? Marsha said that she's very emotionally connected. I am very physical. that's where I get a lot of my physical. That's where I get a lot of my messaging. So I will get headaches. I will get intense pressure in my shoulders, in my chest, tightening in my solar plexus. So these are things that I have become present to, so that when they show up, I'll be like, oh, okay, somebody trying to get my attention, and somebody is me. But it's like, okay, and so that's one thing. But for you, it's for you to tap into what causes you to be aware of what's going on with you. Like with babies, you know, we tend to learn their cries and their cues, right? When they start to wind up. I remember when Malika was a baby. Hey, Malika, my little one. Here's my little one. She's 17 years old now.
She's a grown woman.
But when she was a baby, I remember she used to do this wind up. And we would do everything in our power to be like, let's not let this thing unleash. We would be like, okay, we need what is going on? Check the diaper. Is she hungry? You know, but is she comfortable? Yeah. But, you know, so to be that in tune with the babies, to be able to practice being that in tune with ourselves. So being in tune, being willing to be still and to quiet, releasing judgment, and tuning in to what the moment is calling us